4 or 5 different stocks that you like, stuff that you probably use every day.
If people know they can come to your OnlyFans and learn how to produce a track, they're gonna subscribe.
Do this for years. This is long term.
Hey, what's going on? So, what I wanted to talk about today is I've been having conversations and actually hearing other conversations about the vaccine mandate, right? I guess there's no wrong answer depending on what's your view of the situation. Because no one wants to get forced to do something, but no one wants someone to sit around and not do nothing, and then all it take. So sometimes some things are not real or it doesn't matter until it hits home, right? So if it never hits home, it can be some kind of conspiracy. Oh, they were just trying to do this, they was trying to do that. But if it hits home, it's, oh, I wish people would just listen. If people would have did what they were supposed to do. So it's like you can go back and forth with it, right? My outlook on it is some people, this is why a lot of people can't really have conversations. Well, conversations turn into debate when you're talking about politics. It turns into debate when you're talking about religion. So some people in their minds, they saying, don't discuss politics, don't discuss religion. And I disagree with that, because to get a better understanding, you have to discuss it. You just can't discuss it with certain people. You can't discuss it with people that only see the glass half empty. If you have conversation with people that only sees the glass half empty, then there will be no solutions. Just debating and arguing. And when you debate, there's always 2 sides or even 3 sides, but when you debate, if you're a lawyer and your client is guilty, right? You're not going to go up there and just mention all the worst things about your client. You're going to mention all the best things about your client, right? You haven't said anything that wasn't true. You just didn't focus on the bad things, right? The glass is half full. And if you're the prosecutor, you're not going to mention none of the good stuff about the defendant, or whatever you're going to call him or her. You're going to go and mention all the terrible things to make this person look like they need to be in jail, right? So this is how I look at it, like some old law stuff. Politics, all that, law, religion, it all intertwines. We can look at the Bible and someone can mention all the good things about the Bible. And then you can have a half empty glass type person and mention all the terrible things. Oh, this don't make sense. And and they'll both be right? So I disagree. I believe we should have conversation. But back to the vaccine. I was just throwing out some scenarios, as I always do. I believe with the vaccine thing, reason why it bothers me just listening to some people, because I'm like, okay, and not that they're wrong, it's just I'm more of a solution type guy. I don't necessarily care about the problem. Yes, I care, but I don't want to just talk about it. It just makes the situation worse, makes everybody more angry or scared or whatever. What can we do to make the situation better? I use this in every scenarios of my life, aspects of my life, whether it's relationships, whether it's workplace or whatever. I analyze the situation before I even say something about it. And then when I'm going to say something about it, it depends on how that person reacts, how they answer the situation, before I determine what my final solution is going to be. Some people go into a conversation, I already know what their solution is. Like, not even solution, knowing what their end game is. So they haven't even talked to see what can be said and what they can learn. If some people just feel like it's nothing they can learn. They know what they know, and their truth is the only truth, right? So My thing about the vaccine is, first, they really didn't know much about what was going on. And everybody knew this. So they said, put on a mask. And that will help, because, and some people would say, then you will have some half glass, half empty people. They're looking at the glass as half empty and say, why I gotta wear a mask? If you're wearing your mask works, don't it? Maybe they didn't understand it. Maybe they did understand the situation. If I go into a room and I'm the only one wearing a mask and there's 10 people in there not wearing a mask, who's the one more in danger? Me. I'm actually saving them, and they're not concerned about me because of the droplets. The virus travels through the droplets. If you sneeze, if you talk, every time you talk, there's some droplets coming out of your mouth. They're invisible to the naked eye. We don't see that, and that's how it travels. That's why some people are saying it's airborne. It's not necessarily airborne. If it comes out of your mouth and the wind blows, it'll travel to the next closest person or the next object that it can fall on. Yeah, so you have to understand that before we can even go into the wearing of masks. So actually, you can't really protect yourself from wearing a mask. You protect people that's around you. So if they're wearing masks, also they protect you. Okay. So that logic, if you're wearing a mask, if your mask works, why do I have to wear mine? That made no sense because of how the virus transfer from person to person. Okay. Then it morphed into these masks are uncomfortable. Why are we have to wear masks? It went into that. The whole thing about that. I'm like, trying to come up with a solution is not always going to be comfortable. It's just that, okay, we do this, we can phase out the traveling of the virus. We can phase, and then of course it was multiple steps. It wasn't just wear masks. They say don't go outside unless you need to be outside. If you have to go grocery shopping, you whatever. Then you have people saying, why are they trying to keep us in the house? Like, it's some people the glass is always half full. They always want to argue and find solutions. But the bad thing about that is when people do that, they affect other people that's around them. Because some people, they listen. They don't even watch the news. They don't read. They don't do nothing. They listen to people that's around them, their friends or family or whatever. So if you're hearing people saying, oh, it's a conspiracy, they're trying to keep us in the house. Why they build 5G towers? Now, so many people are saying, my God, they are putting up 5G towers, which 5G towers were nothing but cell phone signals. Most of our phones are 5G. A lot of people don't even know it. If they wanted to do something to us, they can send the signal through our phone. Phone is like a microwave. It give out radiation, but very little of it. But if they really wanted to do something to us, just attack us through our cell phones, because that's all a 5G is a 5G signal for cell phone towers. But anyway, so people was thinking like, well, we can tear down the cell phone towers. It had nothing to do with the coronavirus. So like when people get the repeating stuff, that made it hard, right? So now they say, hey, wear a mask and only come outside when necessary. They're trying to make us stay in the house. No one said you have to stay in the house. They said only come out, go grocery shopping if necessary. Because if we can cut down the unnecessary travel and putting on masks, we can fade. Like say if you caught the coronavirus or COVID, whatever you want to call it. Say if you caught that, you literally, if you're only traveling when necessary and then you're putting on masks, it will fade out before you give it to another person if you're in the house. If you go grocery shopping, you don't need to go grocery shopping every day. You will be sitting in the house and I forgot how many days it says before it fade out. By the time that fades out, you wouldn't be able to give it to another person. This is why they said only stay in the house, only come out if necessary. But a lot of people turned it into they're trying to control us, they're trying to make us stay in the house. I was like, wow, that's crazy, but okay. But see, it depends on how a person's mind think. If a person's mind is always to find the most negative situation out of any situation, that's somebody you can't listen to on a regular basis. Not to say they're not right. Sometimes there are conspiracies or whatever, but everything is not a conspiracy, right? So it was confusing people because now they saying the government is trying to do something. They're trying to keep us in the house. The government wants us to wear these masks. That's not healthy because we're breathing in old oxygen. Yeah, that is very true. But we're also breathing in toxic oxygen when we start our car up. When the stuff, the exhaust that comes out the muffler. Should we all get rid of the cars? Should we really get rid of our cars? But it's always to be some type of something in the air or in our food that's bad for us. People know that sugar is terrible for you. They'll still eat sugar. They know white bread is not good for you. So people would do all this stuff that they know is bad for them, whether it's using drugs, drinking alcohol. But when it comes to putting a mask on, they're worried about all the health. And some people smoke cigarettes on a daily basis. Like, they know these things are bad for them, but yet they want to point out wearing a mask is bad for you. See, I'm not judging nobody. I'm just saying we have to be realistic. The mask is to stop a virus from spreading. But you putting things into your body that you know can hurt you, cigarettes and cigarette smoke, tar, tobacco, all this, and think everything is okay. But someone to tell you to wear a mask, that's not okay. Okay, I get it. Okay, let's go past that. So people wasn't listening, right? They wasn't listening. I was looking, it was places in Memphis, people in Cincinnati, it was places in Nashville. People were throwing parties. And then, meanwhile, they're loading 18-wheelers up with bodies in New York. And I get the argument, all them people, all of a sudden, the flu has disappeared. These are valid points. All these people are probably not dying for the coronavirus, but they are dying. So let's just say they're not dying of COVID. Let's just say that. Let's just say you're right. These people can't be dying of COVID. You still have to say they're dying of something. Maybe the government's telling us it's COVID and it's not COVID. Isn't that more reason to put the mask on? But like, instead of saying, man, this is crazy, what are they dying from? I can say, I would agree with you if you say, man, this is a conspiracy, they're killing us off. I'm with you. I'm with you. Something's going on. Something's not right. This seems like man-made. But to say, I know something's wrong, all these people are dying, but I don't want to do nothing about it because I don't trust them. Now that's where I'm getting confused. I go with all the theories, whatever. If the government's doing something, this many people dying, population control, I will believe all that stuff if you want me to. But for you to say, let's not do nothing about it, that's when you lose me, right? Because, so now they're arguing about the mask. They're arguing about having to stay in the house and not going out unless you can. They're arguing about not being able to give parties. They're arguing about everything that can possibly help, right? You don't have to know what's killing us to know that we want to do something about it. We want to know, all of us want to know, but let's just say the government knows, but they're not telling us. Okay, let's put a mask on. Anything that something can come out of our body, mouth or whatever, sneeze, talking, and cover our nose so when we breathe in, so the outside air, something can't just easily get into our system. I thought that was a good idea, the mask. Very uncomfortable wearing it all day, but I thought it was a good idea because it could have faded everything out. And if everybody would just stay in the crazy thing is most people didn't hang out anyway. They didn't want to be outside until they heard somebody tell them they can't be outside. That's a little backwards. It's a little weird. but I know how society works, right? So then, now we at the point, they don't want to wear masks. They don't want to stay in the house. At this point, it just seems like they want to be defiant because someone told them to do something. Like, you can't tell me to do this. These are my freedoms. And they're right, but is this the time? You got to pick your battles. People always say pick your battles, right? So I'm like, oh my God, like, really? So then the government say, you know what? A lot of people still are dying or getting sick. Yes, I believe some of the hospitals or whatever probably messed with the numbers. Somebody could have died of a heart attack, and then the person just happened to have COVID, so they'll say they died of COVID. I believe that, but I also understand that too. It's business. If the insurance company pays you, I don't know the numbers, I'm making up numbers. Say if the insurance company say, hey, if this person gets sick of pneumonia or the flu, the insurance company probably pays $5,000. Let's just say $1,500. You know, I don't really know. I'm making up stuff, but just to get the point across. But then, if they find out that you have COVID, they're paying $3,500. So this person dies. They happen to have COVID, but they didn't die of COVID. They died of a heart attack. Most likely, as a business, you're going to say they died of COVID. Because now, whether it's the government giving them money or whether it's the insurance company giving them money, it's still business, no matter how you want to look at it. You know, the person died and they had COVID. The person could have died of pneumonia, the flu. They got all the same symptoms. Do you believe the hospital's going to say they died of pneumonia or the flu? They probably say they died of COVID. I ain't saying they doing that, but that's the business part of that. They get more money if they're treating a COVID patient. So we know that's happening. But that has nothing to do with trying to protect yourself, right? And maybe the media is trying to scare you. Maybe they ain't. This is, you got to be critical thinking right here, right? So now, they can't force people to wear a mask. Some people are wearing it, but they can't force everybody to do it. They can't force you to stay in the house and only come outside when you want to. That made people come out more and start doing parties and stuff, which is crazy. You see the people dying, and then they'll even throw up the statistics. Well, that many people ain't dying. If you think about everybody in the world, yes, it's not a lot of people dying, but it is a lot of people dying. I mean, if you take us as a whole, how many people in America as a whole, United States, it's not that many. But at the same, and they look at it like, at some point, more people had died of the flu or pneumonia. I think it was pneumonia. At that point, it was true, but the virus is still here. So that means it didn't surpass that. It didn't surpass it. So they was throwing out all kinds of, instead of just saying, find a solution. What can we do to get a hold of this? They was finding solutions to make people more afraid, or saying, don't trust the government. No one really, well, no one in the black community really trusts the government, because too many things have happened. Now we have watchdogs. Back then, we didn't have watchdogs watching to see what was what and testing stuff. A lot of stuff has changed, right? So now the government is like, if we do what these people say, let's fall into this. Now it's like, oh, we're going to mandate they get this shot because they don't want to wear a mask. They don't want to stay in the house and not go out unnecessarily. We're going to force this shot on them. Now everybody's like, my God, I can't believe they making us take the shot. It's crazy how they doing us. We got to watch them. We got to fight for our freedoms and whatever. Yes, I do believe that's crazy. I do believe it's crazy, right? But just imagine the presidency is a very big job, right? You're the president of everybody in the United States. Now compare yourself to the presidency. You're the head of your household. You're the head of your house. Let's say your household or your immediate family, you're the head of your family, not just your household, you're the head of your family. And it's about your immediate family, say it's about 20 people in there. You got brothers and sisters or whatever, they all look up to you. Their kids look up to you, you know. Even your mother and father, they're a little older now, and you got to look out for them. Not the United States, this your immediate family, right? And you have to make decision. Okay, it's a disease or something, some virus killing off my family. Two of my family members, it's about 20 of us, and 2 of them then died. That's not a lot of people, but there are a family and 2 people have died. And you say, listen, we're going to all wear our masks and stuff because we don't know what, we done went to the doctors, they don't know what's going on, but the 2 people that's been around each other, they both died. They didn't die at the same time. They died like, you know, a few months away from each other, whatever. And you say, we got to put on masks. And the kids is like, I don't want to wear these masks. I don't like this. It's so uncomfortable. And you got a couple of older grown-ups, because we have some grown-ups that make very bad decisions, and they just do whatever the kids want. You say, I agree with them. These masks are uncomfortable. And then you say, hey, whoever wants to wear the mask, wear it. Who doesn't want to wear it, don't wear it. Then another person. No, the next person dies is a grandmother. Now that hurt everybody, because it's just not your mother. It's a grandmother. So it's your parents' mother. You feel what I'm saying? They die. Then their mate gets sick. As the head of the household, or as the head of the family, you have to do something. You have to let them know that you care. But if you say, listen, hey, that's only a couple of people, it's not that serious or whatever, they're going to hate you. Your family's going to hate you. They're going to think like you did nothing. You could have did something. Even if you didn't know what to do, you have to come up with something that may protect the family. You feel what I'm saying? So this is how I look at the presidency. It's going to be a whole bunch of people uncomfortable with masks. It's going to be a whole people uncomfortable with staying in the house. But now most of the world is uncomfortable with getting these shots. Right? So do you give the people, say, hey, y'all have the freedom. I can't force y'all to do nothing. As the president, do you tell these people, hey, y'all got y'all freedoms. Hey, do what y'all want to do. And more people die every year, right? They're going to blame the president. They're going to say he did nothing. He didn't try to do anything. He's the president. And all he did was sit back and watch people die, especially people who got family members that die. People who he didn't have anybody close to him die, whatever, they may still be conspiracy theorists like, oh, they making that up. That's false or whatever. And for the people who have had family members get sick or die, whatever, and still say it's a conspiracy, there's nothing you can do. Even if they known people that have died, they'll come up with reasons. Well, they only died because of this. I don't care. They died. Like, especially if they died at a young age or whatever. Like, they had coronavirus. Well, they probably died because they was a diabetic. That might be true. But if they wouldn't have got coronavirus, they wouldn't have died. Now, by them being a diabetic, it probably, their immune system was probably already weak and whatever. But so we can't keep on diving into that, right? So what I'm hearing to people is, if he makes you do something to try to save more people, and it could be some more politics, but I can't dig that deep because I don't know. I can't argue stuff that I don't know. It might be some stuff that we don't know about, but all I can do is work with what's in front of us. If he tells you got to get a shot, it's wrong, it's crazy, this is our freedom. Okay, I agree. Shouldn't make people. But at the same time, I told y'all to stay in the house if you don't need to be out there, and everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people's out there having parties and stuff. Which is crazy. But then, even before that, I said, just wear a mask. Just wear a mask. We should be good. And people were saying, no, you violate my rights. I shouldn't have to walk around with that mask on. So at this point, you keep on dealing with a whole bunch of people who are looking at the world half empty. The glass at some point got to be half full. We got to start doing something. I'm more of a solution person. If you look at the situation, the glass is half empty, you're always going to be an arguer and not finding out solutions. I can't deal with people that's all they do is argue situations. They all just want to debate any situation. That doesn't work with me. I can't be debating the simplest things. If I don't know, I just say I don't know. Well, it gotta be something. Yeah, it gotta be something, but I don't know. So until I know something else, not to say you're right, I just don't know. I don't like arguing something that I don't know the answer to. Religion too. Yeah, we can have a friendly conversation and saying what I believe, what I don't believe. But in reality, I don't know. This is just what I believe. So you people just, y'all don't want to do anything to try to make the situation better, but then you will argue when somebody tries to make the situation better. This is how I see it. This is how I see it. Maybe I'm wrong. But this is why I don't really get all up in arms. Like, oh man, they talking about a booster shot or whatever. Listen, we wouldn't be in this. We should be mad at the people that was doing parties and all out and spreading it, going to the beach. We ain't mad at them, but we mad at the people that's trying to help. Now, like I said, I don't necessarily trust the government. But I'm going to try to do something to help than just argue, just debate. I don't want to debate. There are things that we can debate. We can debate sports. We can debate everything for real, but I'm not a debater. I'm more of a, let's just have a conversation. Let's see where both our ideas at. We don't have to agree, but this is why I believe what I believe. This is why you believe what I believe. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Bam. In the discussion. So, all right. I just wanted to get that off. Like, that's my thought process on it. It seems like nobody wants to do anything. I mean, nobody. I don't mean nobody. I mean, majority of, America. They're not okay with just doing the basics to see if it'll help. But they're not okay with staying in the house just to stop the spread. They're not okay, well, not staying in the house, but staying in the house unless you need to go out. No one said stay in the house. He said don't go nowhere unless you don't have to go nowhere. And then they had to put a curfew out in some places because people was out partying, going to the bars, everything, right? So it's like, sometimes, depending on the people you're dealing with, there's nothing you can do that will be okay with them other than do nothing. And if you're in charge of a family, in charge of the United States, in charge of a party, you can't just do nothing. That makes no sense. But this is what some people are saying. Just leave us alone. We don't need the government in this. But if the government did nothing, you would blame the government for all the dead bodies. This is just how society is. I'm not saying it ain't right. I think it's some more stuff going on that we don't know about. But since I don't know and since I can't prove it, I'm not going to argue that. That's just my belief. But at the same time, it's some of you putting drugs in your body every day. Eating food that y'all know is terrible for you. Smoking cigarettes. Y'all doing every day, but will argue about taking a vaccine. For the people who are not doing that stuff, you have the right. Well, y'all have the right, but I understand. Because I don't do drugs or nothing like that. And I'm skeptical, but I took the vaccine. It is what it is. And I'm a diabetic, so it is what it is, But yeah, I eat knowledge for breakfast.